Good morning, welcome to Morning Review. This is Kim Watson speaking on Thursday, the 7th of July. So, yesterday saw a reasonable reversal into the upside. Today looks like at the moment it's doing quite the opposite. We've seen this sort of pop and drop candle in on the 4-hourly at the moment. It's pushed up, currently selling back off again in the euro dollar. Already hit it around its daily pivot. It's starting to sort of look like a break below that 34 could see us running off towards yesterday's lows and the S1 pivot. Any break of the upside, I'd really be looking at the trend that's going across here, probably that 100 MA as well, and just seeing if a break up beyond that point, well, look to ride the original curve that was sitting in there, but as I said, it's not looking particularly sweet at the moment for the upside. It's looking more bearish there than bullish. Obviously, a break of this low from the 2 o'clock candle gives us a lower high anyway, so suggesting weakness. Cable, let's look at the bigger picture first. So yesterday made even newer lows. Or longer term lows. We've now sort of seen this consolidation. Again, it sort of popped up this morning, but not managed to hold on to those gains on a 4-hourly perspective at the moment. It's ran into the hourly 50 here, seeing some sort of reaction to it, a little a bearish harami even. It's not surprised to see it running off this, although it had tested it previously yesterday. So slowly. We just see how it reacts to this now. A break of that 50, well, I'd be looking towards yesterday's highs and more likely the L1 sort of territory. Looking to the downside, for me to get short on it, there's so much support here in terms of different key moving averages. I'd really ideally like to see it below the 29.32 area, but I'll look at that on the shorter time frame and see if there's a cleaner entry. But just got to be very aware that the 221 moving averages, simple, exponential, both of them at times give us support or resistance. Plenty of resistance yesterday, numerous times into the exponential there, and occasionally we just get it around the 21 simple as well. So just holding fire at the moment there. If bigger picture, I say bigger picture, but the picture at the moment, we broke the prior high there and we sort of got a higher low confirmed. There's the possibility of a push up. Dollar yen. There was a suggestion I was reading in the news there from, it did make me smile, from the UK side of things, that there was, let me just find it, the ESM chief suggesting it's not 100% certain that the Brexit separation would take place, which seems to be different to what all our politicians are saying, but there we go. Right. Dollar yen, again seeing some strengthening of the yen as it moves down again here against the US dollar. It's not a lot of picture there. Lower highs, lower lows to me is easier to the downside, but we seem to see a lot of this strengthening occur through the Asian session. Sometimes we see a follow through, but often we see some sort of correction through either the UK session or the later US session. But at the moment, it's put lower highs in lower lows. It's sort of working that way. S1 is a possibility. Break of the trend would be needed for me to be looking at the more bullish side of this. But at the moment, it's still wearing southward. Aussie dollar, well, the S&P put an outlook revision to changed it from neutral to negative on the Aussie, and we saw a 50 pip move earlier on, which created this spiky candle on the 4-hourlies there, but it sort of recovered and pulled back from that quite well. I mean, certainly got ignored, business as usual really, but just chopping along on the daily is not particularly clear in direction. Getting some reasonable intraday moves and continuation moves, looking at this, not quite a pivot swing, but does this current hourly bar does erring towards, for me, towards the downside continuation maybe. Haven't got a simple entry on that at the moment, but would probably favour it much more below the daily pivot, below the 50 MA for a continuation later. And finally, the Canadian dollar. We've seen a bit of a recovery in the oil price. We generally expect to see a bit of downside on the Canadian dollar here, which we saw yesterday to a degree as the oil price started picking back again. Shooting star there, it would suggest possibly some continuation to the downside here. Just looking, there was divergence on the 4 hourlies, which we've seen work itself off now. Looking down shorter time frame, untouched daily pivot, but got pretty close to it. Maybe sort of well, subject to what oil's doing. Oil at the moment is just trickling back a little bit from its highs of yesterday or late yesterday evening. If there is the possibility of it coming back for the daily pivot this morning, maybe, but any spike up or any movement back up on oil, I'd expect to see the S1 hit. It's already put a lower high in, and it's erring towards that sort of continuation to the downside, but really dependent on the price of what happens with oil. As I say, oil at the moment is just ticking down a little bit here at the moment. Maybe you just want to catch its own daily pivot, and that in itself may just see the Canadian dollar rally for a little while, but it'd be interesting to see if oil can hit the pivot, hit the 21s here, and start seeing a bit of a bounce, whether the Canadian dollar will then perhaps see a move up, but then pull back and continue towards the S1 and further down. Okay, that's pretty much it for me, apart from the news. Of course, today we've got manufacturing production, a key number coming out at 9:30 in the UK. We've got the 115 ADP non-farm payrolls figures. Well, we see a bit more volatility around that these days, so we'll be watching that, and the employment claims at 130, so 115, 130, and then that's pretty much it. Crude oil inventories obviously will have effect on the price of oil potentially, and CAD, of course, Canadian dollar. So that's at 4 o'clock on here. It's normally 3, but it's for some reason it seems to be 4. Okay, I'll watch out at 3. Let me check my other timer as well. That's saying 3:30. So there we go. We've got an argument between what time it's coming out. It was me thinking 3. There's the one economic analyst saying 3:30, which is possibly more likely, and the other one at 4. So if you're trading the Canadian dollar, you really need to be watching news around about that time. Okay, that's it for me. Hope you have a great one. Bye for now.